But a few days ago, you held a meeting. That's where we want to begin. Professor Maurice Kamto, and we understand that the discussions were centered around coalition. Are you? Can you tell the viewers exactly what transpired during that meeting? Because we saw that you tweeted and wrote about it on your different social media platforms.
Mm-hmm. Well, the tweet, if you read it, contains actually the purpose of my visit. I had said so during I had the launching of my campaign to a press conference. I also said so in an interview with RFI. I said that President Kamto, not being a candidate in these elections, stood a better chance of inviting all the candidates together to work towards having a single candidate, or at the very least, a candidate of consensus. That's what I went to tell President Kamto. Uh, well, we discussed that lengthily. And now that he has come out with a statement, I can also now confirm that his statement contains exactly what he told me. Firstly, that he didn't think that he thought that the candidates were better placed to get themselves together to solve this solution, and that it wasn't up to him to decide to hold a meeting to do that task. And he also said, which he said in his message, that he thinks the two candidates of the three northern provinces were in a better, should actually think seriously about getting together to pave the way for a wider union. And he said that in his letter. I actually made a speech today, which is a speech to Cameroonian people and a speech to the candidates, which will be published in about 2 or 3 hours, which more or less reiterates the same position which I discussed with Professor Maurice Kamto.
Yes, so when you talk about a wider union, in terms of the northern candidates unifying, do you mean the other candidates rallying behind either Issa Shirma Bakari or Bello Boba, or what does that mean exactly?
It means that in the first instance, they too should decide. They are from the same sort of political region, I would say. They should get together, agree to get together, and decide which foot they will put forward. And then that, I think, will jumpstart the process for all the other candidates who might want to solicit their support or go with them. I think it's still wide open. But Professor Kamto and I believe that, when you have two people from the same division who are actually vying for the position, it is very polarizing. And I think that they will find it in their heart to work together.
Yes, Barrister, we have people also from other parts of Cameroon, like you are from the Anglophone part of Cameroon. We have also Honorable Joshua Osi from the English-speaking part of Cameroon. So if it was in terms of unifying people based on where they come from, we also have people that could come together. I want to know the specific reason why it's important for Issa Shirma Bakari and Bello Boba Maigari to come together. Is it because of the political weight that they hold, or is it because they are not accepting to agree?
Well, firstly, there's no doubt that in the political strategy and calculations, the three northern provinces really have a bulk of a vote. And that is where the government for the past years has been securing its victory in that part of the country. But we now have it split, which is the government's gamble. They pray and hope that we will split the votes in the north in 3 ways. That is Buba Bello, Issa Chiroma, and the government itself, and other 4 parties and other candidates. Because in my own work, we have gotten to many other candidates in that part of the country. The question is, how can we federate all these forces? And I'm saying, once you can get that part of the country together with so many votes, then it rings the bell to usher in others to come in to join. And I think that'll be a good. Professor Kamto and I agreed that, if that were to happen, we are going towards a certain victory.
So, Barrister, you're one of the most selfless, I should say this, not in private, but in public as well, one of the most selfless politicians that I know in Cameroon, because of what
Thank you
you
very much.
did in 2018. You kept your own political cap aside to support the candidacy of Professor Maurice Kamto. This year, 2025, you still speak in the same voice as Professor Maurice Kamto himself, thinking that unity coalition, it's very important at a time when Cameroonians are also thinking that coalition is very crucial when it comes to like taking or unseating the regime that has been there for more than 40 years. But it's like, are you hoping to endorse another candidate again this year? Or are you still like
Uh,
really
the difference
set,
this year is that I would like to endorse a candidate within a coalition. Okay, and that's what I'm fighting for. That
even if
gives
you're
us,
not leading the coalition, even if you are not that candidate?
when you go into a coalition, you therefore accept that the fact that it might not be you leading. And I say this because I will reiterate this. The most important thing is for us to show the door to this regime. This 12th October, it is a referendum. Yes or no for BR. It's as easy as that. And to do that, we have to really temper and control our own egos. The message I carry is a message for the country. And it can be carried by me, it can be carried by somebody else. I just have to ensure that whoever will be put forward knows that there are two basic problems in this country today that must be solved illico presto, that immediately. One, corruption and bad governance, and two, the north, west, and southwest crisis. These to me are the two pillars that will jumpstart our country into the future.
You've also held talks with other opposition party leaders in Fumban. Cameroonians are curious to know where the problem was. Why did the talk stop? Or if it's ongoing, why is it delaying?
Well, listen, I must disclose that the Fuman talks was actually uh, I was the originator of that. I saw Madame Damjoya and I told her, listen, you are the only lady one, and Fumban is a historic city, and it would be great if you can call everybody to Fumban so we can sit down and talk about this. And she quickly, without hesitation, bought the idea, and we invited everybody. And in Fumban, we either there or represented at least 7 candidates, and that I think was a very good number. And we actually, the meetings were very, very, it bore a lot of hope. And I was rather optimistic as we left the Fumban. We said, listen, we are all here. Soon after the council comes out with its final decision, we'll meet within 24 to 48 hours and sit down and choose a consensus candidate. That is the spirit that got us out of Fumban. And suddenly it became a lengthy process. And we resolved that maybe some candidates wanted us to firstly mutualize our programs, synchronize them, and then we can sit down now to talk about the candidate of consensus. So that's where things are at. There's a working group sitting, and I have representatives in there to discuss about the programs. So that's where we are. And I also realize that in these matters where you have huge teams that have worked with you to plan a campaign, and the official rally the official campaign starts on the 27th. Everybody has their gadgets and things they have planned to do. They have their militants who are ready to go on the field. So you should at least give them a bite at the pie. So that's what I think is going to happen. I'm launching my campaign on the 27th. Uh, but I think it's important that by the latest 2nd of October, that is 10 days before, we have an idea of what it's going to be in terms of consensus candidate.